Okay, it being 7:02, I will call this meeting of the Facilities Committee, September 26th, to order. And I would look for approval of our meeting minutes from August 23rd.
Motion.
Any discussion? No. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. On to old new business.
Okay.
All right.
A lot of updates to that. I think we're on one action item slash decision, so I'll try to move through rather quickly.
Second. Oh, sorry.
So the Giza project continues to move along well. We're probably maybe 30 days, 45 days away from substantial completion on all of the
Awesome.
the 1B ECMs. The major items remaining are the building automation system is still evolving and actually improves, week by week. So that's still a to-do item, and there's quite a bit of training for the maintenance staff, not only on the new equipment, but also on the automation system that has to take place yet.
Everything in its time.
Yeah, and things we're continuing to change settings. I'll give you a perfect example. We have the new chiller set that if I think it was set to 5 rooftop units or air handlers called for chilled water, it would turn itself on. Well, that didn't work real well for the Senator Mensch breakfast because there's only 3 air handlers in that area in the gym and the hallway. So first thing in the morning, while those air handlers were running, it wasn't enough to wake the chiller up.
Oh.
So we're constantly kind of tweaking those types of settings. Nothing serious, but it's kind of like, and we had a similar situation this week where we have, I think it's senior pictures in the auditorium.
Yeah.
Again, not enough to wake the chiller up, but it was hot in there, so we're just continuing to
Wake it
change
up
settings
manually.
and make updates and understand how the system operates. But other than that, I don't. We're still waiting on the replacement coil for air handler 1. That's the one that serves the 300 wing. So we're still using the window air conditioners in the 300 wing. So once that coil comes in, which everything is 8 weeks these days, if not longer, we'll be able to get that installed and then remove the window air conditioners. So
And
just
to
in time.
toot one more horn, and I forgot to mention it on Thursday night, that you use just the geothermal system for the air conditioning for the football game at home.
Right, so the whole athletic
That's
side of
what
the
I'm talking
building is all served by the one geothermal field. So I guess it was last Friday we had a home football game?
The one, yeah.
Yeah. So I just happened to be on my computer for something and I just checked on it quick and everything was nice and, at room cooling and at room temperature, but the chill was off.
Yep.
So that's the way it's supposed to operate. You're supposed to take advantage of the geothermal system. So that was just a kind of proud father moment. But,
Yeah, that's good. I love those text messages.
Yes.
Yay.
Right. No, but other than that, I think we're certainly well on our way. In a future meeting, we're going to have to start talking about the 20 or so deferred ECMs that we didn't do, and how we want to layer those in.
Are we
I
going
did
to wait
make-
to incorporate them in our feasibility?
I did
or-
make that list available to
Okay.
KCBA and their mechanical consultants, so they have that.
Okay.
ECM stands for.
Energy
Yeah,
conservation
that's it,
measure.
measures, yeah.
So they just
I know
sequentially
what they
number
are.
them, like ECM 1, new chiller, ECM 2, new boilers, they're just,
Okay.
it's just an acronym in my.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so we're going to take a look at what that looks like when we have our these meetings.
Right. And then, once all of this is wrapped up, then we move into the M&V phase, which is measurement and verification, where, we're guaranteed a certain amount of savings through all of this work that was done,
Yep.
energy savings. And if, it doesn't materialize, in theory, Resco has to cut us a check.
Get it anyway.
I don't see that happening, but
No.
because there wasn't a ton of energy. It was more, sort of capital equipment
We
replenishment.
needed it
capital.
anyway, yes.
But the lighting certainly, has a payback. And then we'll see some from boilers and chillers, et cetera, so.
Good stuff.
Yeah, that'll be ongoing. Facilities feasibility study, we're meeting with the KCBA tomorrow. They're trying to do an every 2 or 3 week update for us.
Okay.
I think the only real due diligence that they have remaining is probably on the sewer treatment plants.
Okay,
So I'm gathering data for them, permits with DEP and all of that they have to, but they've already done the pool survey, all of the administrator interviews, all of their walkthroughs, and they're starting to kick around some pretty high-level ideas for, improvements to the schools and traffic flow, wood property, athletic venues, all of that is, rolling around in their heads, and they're trying to commit that to paper to show us what they're thinking.
okay. Any thoughts on when? Or not yet?
I would
Another
probably
month or two?
say maybe end of October into November. I would think
Okay.
before Thanksgiving, certainly. I'll confirm that with them tomorrow.
Okay.
And then they're doing what they call an FCI, Facilities Condition Index,
Mhm.
of major things at each of the schools. That's the ranking system, essentially, to work into a capital plan.
And to give us all heart attacks, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
too.
yeah, they have some very, forward-thinking ideas.
Okay.
None of which are free.
Yeah,
So-
unfortunately.
Nothing
Yes.
is free.
No.
But so far, so good.
Okay,
Doug, just to recap, so we talked about it at finance last week as far as, what the projection is for capital reserve funds at the time, basically at the end of this year, and it's roughly $4.5 million or so. And
Mhm.
we discussed, the set aside that we have for the turf. So basically, depending on, when we get that in front of the committee, at least, so when the feasibility study comes, at least there's an acknowledgement that there are funds kind of setting us up for some of those
Mhm.
expenses that come down the pike, but we'll see what that looks like, hopefully October, November.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But they're talking, they have some high-level ideas about a field house, for athletics, all sorts of things.
Bobby just perked up.
Yeah.
Yep, right, field goal.
Our bathrooms are outside the stadium right now,
Yes.
which is problematic. It'd be nice to have everything contained down on the field. The teams can retreat into a locker room area with restroom. But that's what they do. They're architects.
Yeah.
That's the kind of ideas they.
Now, if
That's
there are
true.
bankers giving out money.
Right, then,
Yes.
yeah, exactly.
Well, at least one of the guys does live here, so
Okay.
that's a start.
Yeah, there is somebody, I think
Yes.
that's an Upper Perk grad, if I
Yes.
remember correctly.
Mhm.
Yep.
That works for their.
Yeah, they're
firm,
only
so.
in Hatfield, so they're
Right.
not far, okay. That's good. All right, move on to 4-5 center roofing bid.
So those bids are due back on October 5th.
Okay,
We had a Zoom pre-bid meeting and then a contractor walkthrough, and it was fairly well attended.
good.
I think there were 5 or 6 firms that attended the Zoom pre-bid meeting, and then I walked, I think, 2 firms up onto the roof
Okay,
later that same day. So I'm expecting 3-4 bids maybe.
okay,
Um,
good.
This is all for next summer, basically June 20th or June 15th, you have 45 days to get it done. But the consultant felt that it was important to get this out sooner rather than later because of the lead time on materials.
Yeah.
Most people that tried to do roofing projects last summer had to delay them because their contractors couldn't get, ISO board and other materials. So we'll see where they come in. The idea is to put that before the full board on the 13th.
Okay, good. Okay. That works. All right, high school gym back, if anybody has any questions, just say.
Yes, please.
High school gym backboards?
Yeah, so this is really the major discussion item. As you know, we've been soliciting quotes and working towards replacing the backboards in the gym, the main backboards, and having them retract, and we need that for volleyball, et cetera. graduation, if we have to have it, there's a number of reasons. And then taking the half moon backboards off in favor of square or rectangle backboards.
Right.
We had a quote, Mr. Kurzweg and I had a quote from a company that was the basis of the budget that I have in my operating budget. It was roughly $45,000. When we re-engaged with that vendor to have them update their quote, we found out they were not on CoStars, which kind of submarined the whole thing.
Yeah.
So we went to a different vendor that has since provided us a quote for the same scope of work, but in today's market, I'm sure you know what I'm going to say, the price has
Dropped.
gone up.
Dropped you now. No.
So we're up to $51,140 without the electric.
Oh,
So it's, add a few $1,000s to that, maybe it's $55,000. I only have $45,000
in the
budget.
budget.
And that included the electric, the 45,000?
Uh,
That you had budgeted
No,
or
it
no?
didn't actually. That was a miss on my
Okay.
part. So I could possibly absorb the electric, with some, in my operating budget.
How about sports? Do we have anything in that
But,
budget?
so we're 6 to 10,000, depending if you include the electric or not, over what we originally were.
Okay.
Mr. Kurzweg, maybe you can help me out with the benefits and the exact kind of scope.
Yeah, the backboards in the high school gym are very old and outdated, like, a lot of things in that building. But I know just when I first started here, the main hoops that do not move, I know it was a big issue with graduation.
Yes.
We had to take we took the backboard off to hang a sign. Now, I know we don't necessarily always do that, but we have it as a backup. My hope would always eventually be to get volleyball into the high school. That would be best case scenario logistically for athletic training coverage. We have the NFHS camera in the gym that we could broadcast the girls' games live. If we start a middle school program, we would need that so that our middle school team could practice at the middle school. So the main hoops, we have some issues with the standards that are continually breaking that we've had to weld or repair. If you're standing looking out, like if you're in the gym looking out towards like the turf fields, the backboards on the right side, before I got here, those mechanisms that raise the baskets were replaced at some point. The ones on the side of the boys' locker room have never been replaced, and they're starting to fail. It's starting to be an issue, but you don't see half-moon backboards anywhere anymore either. So it stinks with the world that we live in with the prices, but it's needed to happen.
And that would kind of complete the gym too, wouldn't it?
Minus the floor, I think.
Well,
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Are you getting baskets that go up and down for youth basketball too? Or are they just gonna be stationary?
They just be
swing down?
stationary, like
Think
for,
about ones you
No.
can raise and lower.
our youth does not use the high school gym very often, if at all. Because when we do our basketball practices, a lot of time they're 3 to 5:30, 5:30 to 8. There's no time for an outside organization to come in.
Okay.
Based on what you had in the budget and the numbers that it came in at, or that you think it's coming in at with the additional electrical, is it possible to break it into 2 phases, or does it all need to be done at once? I know it's more convenient to get everything done at once.
Right, and ultimately, it'd probably be a little less costly to do it all at once, just because you're putting
Yeah.
a contractor out multiple times, but, I don't know, it's something we hadn't considered.
Besides, then they wouldn't match.
What's that?
They wouldn't match. You know they wouldn't match. If you did it two different times. Yeah, nothing ever matches the second thing.
They won't go with the same thing again or something.
Exactly, obsolete.
So,
So what do you want to do? Do you want to hold it off another year? I hate to do that too, because we said last year we were going to do it.
Doug, how does, with the NPDES permitting and softball, how does that all factor in from the budgetary standpoint?
Right, well, so that money that I have in my budget for that, for the softball field drainage improvements won't get spent this school year.
So maybe we could rob Peter to pay Paul.
You could, yes, you could. I'm just looking in that same budget line to see if there's anything else that,
Would that cover it?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
$260,000.
Yeah, it's-
It's a lot.
it's, yeah.
We can get gold crust on those.
Yeah, yeah.
With that budget.
Just use that money to put a gym floor in.
Don't push it.
It's not public comment right now.
Yeah, right? Ixnay.
Like, I think we're gonna be okay budget-wise on the batting tunnel for softball. That number's good.
Okay.
I also have in that category, a new PA/clock system for Hereford, I think we'll be really close there. Softball field drainage improvements, that's gonna be like July, August, so that money would, I guess, would be available. X-Lab dust system, ductwork. Yeah, if
We
if
could
the
do
will
it.
of the committee was to move forward, I think I could
Squeeze
make
it.
it work, yes.
Is that the will of the committee?
Yes.
Me too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because
We will.
I think we're gonna have to do it if we want to have volleyball in that gym.
Right.
So it's a matter of, do we do it now, or do we, you know,
Play with it later,
right,
on top of putting in the new floor and drilling the holes for the volleyball
right,
stuff. Got it.
exactly.
Because I'm thinking that's gonna coincide. Somehow I think that's gonna coincide.
You know, that would, we would certainly include those sleeves for
Yes.
any new gym floor that we put in there. Yeah.
I was paying attention.
What's the timing? You know, is this something that's then ready to go for?
I don't think we can get this done.
No, I
Wasn't
think-
sure what the source.
Yeah, I think it's spring.
Yeah, I think when we originally talked about it, they were looking at December, January, but now,
So if it's spring, at least we'll be ready for if we had to have
Next-
graduation inside.
you know.
December, January doesn't make sense
No, no,
in season.
Yeah.
yeah. So the season runs until when usually?
November to like first or second week of February,
Okay.
the regular season, if there be postseason, to go after that.
So maybe April.
So we'd have to see how intrusive it is because of the, you know, we're holding gym class in there every day, so,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
can we work
So
around
maybe
gym
June.
class?
Are there other outfits that do this that we can get a second bid from just to see? Or is it, we're pretty confident that this is the best we're gonna get?
I feel like every time you put something on CoStar, it costs twice as much.
Right.
I know it's not public comment, but I
Yeah,
can.
go ahead. Comment aloud.
I think it's a pretty good price. This second one is through BSN, and we are part of a rewards program with BSN, so we get special pricing.
Okay.
Double.
He did recognize that, you know, because I had shared with him what the other company was. I didn't give him the details, but I gave him the ballpark of it.
Right.
And he said that the stuff that they use at BSN, he told me that the equipment and the stuff is a better quality than what the other group was putting in. So he said that was the reason, but I do feel it's a pretty good price for what we're looking to do.
Okay.
And to just piggyback on that, I mean, the whole purpose of CoStars is essentially guaranteeing pricing that is qualified under, you know, state contracts and stuff, so, you know, it's not.
So it's definitely twice as much.
It's definitely twice as-
Got it.
yeah, no.
There is a little
No,
blurb
but
on that.
there's definitely, you know, the whole rationale there of going through, you know, the cooperative purchasing and everything
Yeah.
is to guarantee, it may not be the same as far as, you know, putting it out to bid and getting the lowest bidder
Right.
per se. But it is something that does go through the state as far as, you know, basically qualifying the purchasing price and, that there should be some,
I'm just
hopefully the board, you know, the committee, you know, understands that there's some, you know, competitive nature to.
Save some time on the bidding process and
Yeah,
evaluation.
not to mention the
versus
cost.
That's the cost
as far as
Offset a
putting
little
it out
bit.
there.
Yeah.
Right, otherwise we have to go to an architect or an engineer and have specifications done.
That's
And what was the,
public bid.
what was the cost differential, 45 to?
Well, this one was 46 but it's also dated, no, it was April. Yeah, well, April, and this one's 51.
By the time you get to the bidding process,
Oh.
you're gonna.
You've spent
you're
another
gonna-
10,
Exactly.
an extra 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just move forward.
Yeah, I agree, move forward.
So the last question I would have is, does it have to go before the full board as a motion?
I doubt it. I don't think so.
I have no idea.
It's in your budget, so we already approved that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I say no.
Yeah, no.
Nah, just because it's in the budget doesn't mean it's approved. That's a standard
No,
line
that's
where
fair.
people come up with ideas.
That's the line I
I
was.
mean, we
Right.
could. It's not going to
Well, just
count.
because it's in the budget doesn't mean it's approved.
And I don't think that we'll have any issue with
Yeah,
them
if
approving
if
the
you
rest
want
of
to
it.
formalize it, you could put it on the next meeting agenda.
I'll say also
Just
the dollar.
formality, but we could still move forward.
I was gonna say, since the dollar value changed from what was presented from from the budget timetable,
Yeah.
because that was a specific line item. that was in
Right.
there.
I don't think anybody's, I don't think we'd have enough votes to vote it down. I'm just guessing. The number of
I don't see
people that are
anyone jumping up and
knowledgeable
down
about it.
screaming, so. Okay. All right, well, let's move it to the full board then.
Okay.
Put it on October 13th and.
Okay. I could do a board update just to
We'll
give
move it up.
everybody
Okay,
a couple paragraphs.
okay, that would be great.
They love when you pad that board update, make it really long.
Yeah, we like 8, 9, 10 pages, it's great, we love it.
You gotta work on a video update though. so-
That's it, yeah.
That's a new
standard.
to
No, I
raise
dropped
the
a
bar.
podcast and no one commented on it.
Oh, geez.
I haven't seen
Yeah,
it yet, so,
I didn't
no.
see it.
Oh, you just listened to it. That's the
Yeah.
beauty of it.
Well,
I
I
gotta
haven't
say
had
my
time
face.
to listen to it yet. Tonight,
Yeah.
something to go to
Yeah.
sleep by.
Yep, that's right. All right, well, if we're done with that,
Soothing sounds of Dr. Roche.
so I don't see anyone, Peg, do you have any update on the,
No, I haven't talked to Dr. Ferris in a while, so I don't know where they're at with all that.
okay,
Luck of the Irish.
yeah, all right, so we'll just move that one forward.
Okay.
And then move on to custodial staffing, since that's always fun.
Yep, just, quick update, we are trending in the right direction. I believe I have
Thanks, Bob.
2 custodians, a full-timer and a part-timer that came through the referral process.
Yay,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yep, and if you recall, there was an agreement on a previous agenda for Precision HR. So I have at least one, I believe a second coming
Great,
through that process. That's the temp to hire route.
yep.
So
How many? One.
at this point, I think we're down 3 full-timers and 1 part-timer with, I have potentially 2 full-timers coming from Precision HR and another full-timer that was just approved on this previous agenda.
Okay,
So we're close.
Good.
We're,
Thank goodness.
it's looking up.
sheesh. It's like pulling teeth.
And, you know, just as a, I guess as a thank you, I don't, since the board, you know, raised the base custodial rates, we haven't, there's been no attrition. We haven't
Good.
lost anyone. So
That's good, that's how, that makes me feel
certainly-
better.
That helped, yes.
Good.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Any questions, comments?
That's awesome.
Before we
Yeah.
leave old business, I just wanted to bring up, there's been requests and or your comments about taking the board on a trip to the
Yeah.
Giza conversation, so I don't know if you wanted to
Yeah, we could do some, we could set that up.
set that up, or at least
Mhm.
have something ready.
Yeah.
Because I
Okay.
know it's come up a couple times and you,
I know, and I,
right,
yeah,
so,
I know.
yeah, I don't know if it's
I've been busy.
if it's, maybe, you could make it the October meeting, or do it another time just to have, see if anybody wants to go, or,
Throw a
We could
couple
do that,
dates
too.
out there.
I don't know, whatever, I mean,
Yeah,
happy to help facilitate and, or,
Okay.
so let me know if you, I can
Okay.
put something in the board update, because we want to pad that up there. Or
Okay.
just a matter of trying to see who, you know, who's interested, maybe the
Alright,
first
I
thing, see
mean,
who's
do we want to
interested.
do it during the week, we want to do it before a meeting, do we want
Whatever you
to
think.
start at the
Is
high
it better during the
school?
light?
and
Yeah.
Have a full day trip?
Because
So
we'll
he said it's
be
better
up
during
on
the
the
light.
roof, so
Yes.
it'd be better and safer
Soon.
if it was daylight. Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
So,
What do you want?
I'm up for whatever, I just thought about it, so however you want to
You
proceed.
guys have any
I'm
thoughts?
flexible,
Okay,
so
I can be flexible.
okay.
Yeah, so maybe
All right.
like a
Dana,
5:30 or
thoughts?
6
Anytime.
o'clock.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
All right, well, maybe
Morning,
we're
I'll
gonna
go.
we're gonna do it before it's really cold out then, in that case?
No
Okay.
Tuesdays.
No Tuesdays?
No Tuesday. I know
Okay,
that's a bad
gotcha.
day for me,
Okay,
Tuesday.
okay, no Tuesdays, got
You
it.
still golfing on Mondays? or-
No,
No.
Tuesday.
Bowling, you're
Bowling
bowling?
was Monday, but we haven't done that for years.
Well, maybe we could make it before a meeting.
Where that, we
Or-
give Dr. Roche a GoPro and let him go.
I could do
Yeah,
that.
executive
That would-
session.
Love that,
Okay, that would be fun.
yeah.
All right,
We could, yeah, we could
Yeah.
flip, I mean, I know Peg moved the meeting to 5, but that's not on our night, it just happened to be on this night.
Yes.
This month, next month, it's on the regular night, so could go at 5, or if that works,
okay.
before, and if we're, I don't know how long it'll take. How long we do?
It's only 200,000
Yeah.
square feet, isn't it?
Maybe.
It's small.
Or just on a different day, what do we want to do? I don't know if you wanted to make it the October meeting, that was simply just the tour, or you want us to still have the meeting, or have the meeting at the high school, or whatever.
I hate to make everybody move all that crap to the high school to do that. I'd
Mhm.
rather just do it and then come here.
Okay?
Agree?
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that would be better. Okay. All right, so,
Halloween costumes mandatory.
Yeah.
okay,
Now
All
you're-
right.
now you're getting silly.
yeah. Well, do you want to throw it out there for before the 13th, or?
The board meeting,
Yeah,
I know we have exec, we've been
all right,
having a repetitive exec.
okay. Anybody else have a suggestion? Other than Tuesday night? I mean, do we want to make it a Wednesday or something like that, before it gets really dark really early? I think we
That's
have
part
to
of the
like
problem,
7
too,
o'clock,
like,
yeah.
it's, we gotta do it early.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, do you want to do it like 5 o'clock or 5:30 on Wednesday, the 12th?
I got something Wednesday at 6.
Oh, sure.
And I can do it in the middle of the afternoon, I don't care.
Yeah, but most of everyone else won't be able to.
Well, will
I don't
everyone
even know if I
attend?
can,
Okay.
yeah. I don't even know if I can.
All right,
There's
well, you know,
the
work on a date, and
Okay.
see
Yeah.
All right,
what I can
4
put something out
o'clock,
there.
13th,
4 o'clock.
on Thursday.
I could do that, actually. I think I could. do
4
that.
o'clock on the 13th, that should work. I mean,
Yeah.
if people can get off that
And we
early.
just come back and, when we
Okay.
get back, we have.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can pull that off.
okay, all right, well then let's make it 4 o'clock on the 13th. Since everyone's already going to be around.
We're meeting where?
The high school on the
The
roof?
roof?
Yeah,
Right.
at the front
Um,
entrance. At the secure entrance in the front.
Probably at the athletic entrance.
Athletic
Oh,
entrance?
come on, Doug. They have a secure entrance.
Oh.
They didn't even see that. Okay, all right, athletic entrance.
So it's 10:13.
10:13, yeah.
He'll probably be open.
Yeah, great. You can't, you can't. You can't, there's still people on the other side. All right, perfect, thank you for bringing that back up, I appreciate that. Okay, we'll move on to new business, middle school maintenance period, site repairs, and other sore subject.
So this, I guess it was last week, we had the 6 trees at 8th and Montgomery replaced. That was the
Done for me.
last, I guess, punch list item from the off-site sidewalk project. I think 5 of them were in that 8th and Montgomery area, and 1 was right at the top of Mr. Chrisman's driveway.
Yep,
As part of that process, the engineer or the codes official for Upper Hanover Township walked the length of Montgomery Avenue from 8th all the way to 11th, and reminded me that we're still in the 18-month maintenance period for the middle school, because it didn't start until June of 2021.
I still can't even
Right.
believe that, I just came in.
So I'm going to be receiving a letter from him with deficiencies, and just off the top of his head, there was a bolt missing from a sign. We fixed that day. There's 3, if you go all the way down Montgomery towards the high school, just before the memorial there at 11th, there's 3 dead trees there. So more tree replacements. And the other item that he mentioned was curb chips. So as we walked from 8th to 11th, every once in a while, there's a little chip or a chunk out of, not a chunk is too large, a chip out of the curb that he's gonna want us to patch.
Like from a snowplow, maybe?
From a, yeah, from a non-district snowplow.
Yeah,
yes.
that kind.
Mhm. Yep.
Going to the Upper Hanover meeting this coming.
So, he's supposedly gonna send me a letter with those items. It's, I guess the escrow is still being held 30, I'm not exact, 30
Yeah,
plus
30
thousand.
I think it's around 40.
Yep.
Closer to 40,000, which,
Yeah.
I guess at the end of this year, they would release.
Or in October, they're gonna release it. Oh, that's right, I'm going to the meeting.
Right.
Sorry.
And apparently for the chip repair on the curbs, there's a spec that we have to follow and all of that.
Okay.
I could just cry
Ballpark
sometimes.
estimates on something like that?
I think that the trees are probably, well, based on the trees that we just replaced, there's probably $800 or $900 a tree.
Mhm.
And then the chip repair, we would do it in-house, it's just materials.
Yeah.
Sika products with a bonding agent,
Mhm.
and we would do all of that, in-house, but
They're
it,
killing me.
yeah, it was kind of a little bit of a tough bill to
Still gotta
swallow.
use a slapjack to get that thing proper.
No.
Yeah.
No, the sidewalk itself is okay.
When I go to regional planning, I can say that Upper Hanover is holding hostage $40,000 for
Yes, you
stupid
can.
stuff.
Right, for
Okay.
curb chips and 3 trees,
I
yes.
don't understand how the maintenance started so late when the school has been open longer.
I had that same question, and I went back through a number of emails, and I actually found one from Mrs. Castle that, kind of announcing that, and it was June of 2021, that the township at their, I guess, a meeting,
That they moved.
there was some kind of dedication which started the clock on the 18 months. But that didn't happen until June of 2021.
Not the fact that.
Was the dedication like just a formality? Because shouldn't it like be backdated to
Well, I was-
when we
it was
actually opened the
occupied.
school?
We'll be
Yeah.
talking about that at the.
In December, it'll be open
3
40
years.
months.
3 years and 3
Yeah,
months.
about,
4 months.
right, about 40 months or so,
So
so.
it's like, I mean, let's go to the meeting.
Told you I'm going to the meeting.
Let's go.
I'm already there.
Tell me the date, I'll go.
The last 6 months have been the year, it has just been a period of township and borough and
That's just
authority
absurd.
absurdities.
Backlog stuff,
Yeah,
other stuff.
they're just, right. It just
Well, to
seems
put
to
that into perspective,
come and come.
LTL, that's the engineering firm that's doing this. When we put our solar panels in at our house, 5 years later, we had the permit for it, we did everything, we had them come and check it. And 5 years later, he called me and said, same guy, called me and said, are you ever gonna put those solar panels in? I'm like, yeah, you already inspected them. Okay, I'm done now. I will be going.
This is like the same instance of what we were doing with the tax,
Yeah.
what we will be doing with the taxes, for new ownership and people not getting the bills and
Yeah.
being able to waive this.
Yeah, gotcha,
It's like that piece.
exactly like that.
Yeah, so this email from Mrs. Castle is June 8th of 2021,
Yeah.
addressed to you and I. Actually, I didn't get it. I didn't get it. And Mr. DeRiso, just to let you know, the township approved moving the middle school to the 18-month maintenance. They agreed to release $264,000. And they were holding some in escrow for the traffic light, or the traffic signal, and for the balance of the 18 months. Once the
Didn't we
traffic
get the
study is
200?
complete,
Okay.
which we did, and the signal is determined as not needed, we will be able to request $200,000+, which we did. The balance of almost $40,000
Mhm.
will be kept for 18 months.
Which will expire in December of this year,
Mhm.
hopefully. Yes, they move.
Unless they decide something
So
different.
that will come back to us.
Yep. The second Tuesday of the month is when
Okay.
anyone would care to join me. I'd be happy to have you.
Watch that show?
Yes, would be the first one. Okay, that's it for that lovely topic. We'll move on to Red Cross shelters.
So I was contacted by the Red Cross recently to update the information that they have on file for both the high school and the middle school. And it was a fairly exhaustive survey. It was 8 pages for each school, right down to square feet and longitude and latitude. We have an existing shelter agreement in place with the Red Cross for the high school.
Right.
2013 or 2014.
That's because of the Limerick, correct?
Yeah, and they had a pod parked out back, which isn't there anymore. And I went back to them and I said, I'd be happy to fill this out for the high school. I said, but to my knowledge, we don't have a shelter agreement in place for the new middle school. And the individual I spoke to said that, well, PEMA is requiring all of the districts, to complete these surveys for both high schools and middle schools. I said, well, does my school board have the option to decline? Oh, sure, yeah. Well, I said, well, then I need to get their approval, before we move forward with this. And so the request or the discussion item is whether or not we want to allow the middle school, in addition to the high school, to serve as a Red Cross
Do they get paid
shelter.
for that?
No. And it's actually interesting, because in filling out the survey forms, it's very specifically asks you when the facility would be available. So we have to decide, I guess, as a district, if something were to happen during a school day, would we dismiss for the purposes of turning the high school over to Red Cross?
I don't think I mind doing that with high school, but I don't know about.
Now, the chances are, if they're asking for it, it's probably affecting our community as well.
Right.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to be, as I filled out the paperwork, I just wanted to be very careful about what I told them
Yeah,
the availability would be.
yeah.
They need to know number of showers, number of toilets, can we accept pets? It's,
Interesting.
the pets was a no.
Yeah, thank you.
I checked
Yeah,
no on
I
that
was
one
taking
quickly.
that.
So, the question is, do we want to move forward offering the middle school to the Red
Thoughts?
Cross?
My personal opinion, no, I'd prefer not to offer up the middle school. I mean, if something happens in this area, the high school should be sufficient. With the issues we've had since bringing the middle school online,
Mhm.
I don't want to do anything else with it right now until we're sure that we've got everything going there.
And did they tell you any other shelters that are around here? Like, did they give you a hint?
No.
Like, are we gonna look like the big jerks that don't wanna use our middle school? Because I don't really want to either, but,
Well, in reality, if they want it, they'll come in and they'll take it.
well, that's true.
Plain and simple. The county will come in and take it if they want
But
to.
what they're trying to figure is, do they have,
Planning.
what do
Yeah.
they have for
What's there
facilities,
and
yeah.
what's available to them.
Mhm.
In incidents of disaster, hurricane, things like that, we haven't had that for a good 10 years or so, I guess.
I have one barreling toward my condo as we speak, so.
Pray for your condo. But, they have the firehouse, which is a warming center. They have the ambulance building, which is a warming center. They have other places around here that they can utilize. And in all seriousness, I don't see anything short of a very large national disaster or local disaster to where they would need something like this.
Doug, what are your thoughts? Alan, what are your thoughts?
I'm in the same boat. I just think that we go with the high school.
Not to
See where we go. It's on the same campus roughly, so it's, it's not like it's the middle school sitting in East Greenville saying, we would need, that would serve this other area that's right there.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, we can certainly start with that. We have an existing.
I mean, again, not knowing what the potential situation is,
Yeah.
Right.
there could be a potential that the school continues on, so do you then, in the worst case scenario, have to run AM, PM shifts at one building?
Right.
I mean, I don't know, but that's,
Well, also, as you first said, I mean, if something happens and we had to keep the middle school going, they're the ones, the kids going to the middle school would be the most impactful to the parents. So if we
High
have to
school
wait
kids
for the
can
parents to show up,
wing their own, yeah.
you're there for a couple hours and you don't want anybody else in there.
Yeah,
all I'm thinking of if they need to take it for a week, the facility for that type
Right.
of tragedy, could you still run school at the middle school and if the high school had to go virtual? I mean, again, there's so many different scenarios,
yeah,
and they all seem to play out that the high school is the right spot.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I think we're all in agreement with that.
Okay.
One survey it is.
Yes.
Only one.
Is all the toilet paper dispensers at least
Yeah,
36
they're-
inches
Oh
from the rear of
my
the wall?
God.
Right.
And are
So
they
here,
full?
they have a series of restroom questions. Toilet center line is 16 to 18 inches from the nearest side wall. Toilet paper dispenser is within 36 inches of the rear wall. Appropriate grab bars, it's to that level of detail.
Wow.
And
Jeez. And they're not paying us for it. Oh, I'm kidding, I'm only kidding about that. Sheesh.
Well, no, you know, I think that's perfectly, a perfect consideration. If we're putting our facilities out there and they need to use it, we should be reimbursed in some sense.
I wonder how that works. If you do, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
if they had to come in and took the building for a week, you know, all of our kids have to transition online or whatever. Extracurriculars, things like that are postponed. You know, besides just the regular operating fees that we pay for, you know, power and all that.
Sure.
We should be compensated for it, one way or another.
Can you put
Because
an addendum on that?
FEMA's not doing it for free.
That's right, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I know in the past position I had, there is usually a reimbursement of something
Oh,
through
makes
this,
sense.
through the state, through PEMA or FEMA
Okay.
in that type of disaster. But I don't, to your
All right,
point, I
well,
don't
let's
think it's
just go with
guaranteed,
that.
it's not.
Yeah,
It's
never
not
cross that bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, how many cots available, how many blankets available, cribs, changing tables, chairs, tables.
That's right. And then if something happens,
Okay.
we have to fix it.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
All right.
You go with that? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, move on to security guard staff.
If, back in, let's see, when was that? When we had the Act 44 report, you recall, we talked about increasing our complement of unarmed security guards from 3 to 5.
Yes.
That's June.
Right, June meeting. And so we notified Standing Stone, who's our contracted security guard company, and in June, and hoping that they would, you know, ramp up their staffing from 3 to 5 by the start of school. We also made a special request for a female guard, because that helps us with, you know, female restrooms and female searches and those types of
Yep.
things. Unfortunately, they weren't able to deliver that. So we started the school year with the same 3 guards that we had at the end of last school year. And just today, actually, we were notified that one of the guards has left Standing Stone. So we're at 2 currently. The owner and the director of HR both called me today, and you know, they're working hard. I can't fault them for trying, but they're just not able to deliver the number of guards that, you know, we requested or, you know, need operationally.
Right.
The sweet spot for getting administrators off the street, I think, is 4. So
Sorry.
we're back to,
Happens.
yeah, we're back to 2 now, administrators on the street.
I had to dust off my vest.
Yeah.
So the thought is that, you know, we'll continue to let them try to fill positions, but we're contemplating, or we're planning to go to another company
Okay.
to see if we can, you know, bolster the ranks. You know, if this other company can provide guards, you know, maybe we have Standing Stone guards, you know, be contained at the high school, for example, and company B would be middle school, and, you know, a roaming elementary guard is what we envisioned.
Right.
But like custodians and food service and paras, they're struggling as we are, but we wanted to let you know that, you know, we're down to 2 at this point, which is obviously a concern.
Yep.
They're trying to find a substitute guard that's currently employed by them in another district to send to us. But as of this meeting, I haven't heard any updates on that. The thought is to reach out to Advanced Protection,
Okay.
because they supply our guards for special events,
Yes.
football games.
Did we do that before?
They actually had, when we had 1 guard at the high school, it was an Advanced Protection
Okay,
guard.
I thought I remembered that.
Yep.
Okay.
So we'll see, you know, how, you know, if they can help supplement and get us to at least 4, preferably 5.
Okay.
We're in the
Okay.
middle, we're in the second year of 3 one-year agreements, so we could part ways at the end of year 2.
We could.
We could have parted ways in year 1, but we knew that was a rough start, COVID, all those types of things, but kind of benefit of the doubt. But here we are with a summer lead time and only the same piece with additional requests. And in essence, that's why you go with a contractor, because it's ultimately their responsibility. You know, when one of those guys are sick, Doug's sending a text to all of us who can cover.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be when one of those guys are sick, they figure it out, and they have someone, that's why you go with a service like
They're
that.
not, they're not operating contract then,
Yeah,
basically.
So where are you filling in at, doing traffic in front of the high school?
middle school
Middle
parent
school.
is the main, and we're just, there's a bunch of us rotating through,
Thank you.
yeah.
What time do you normally do it from? Like the hours?
First shift is 7:10 to 7:45 maybe, and then the other one is 2:25, 2:20, 2:25 to about 2:50.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's a compressed, it's 20, 25 minutes twice a day, but it's,
Do we add that into our referral bonus?
Well, it's not, it's their employees. so-
I mean, in general.
yeah. Well, there's been, Dr. Roach and I have kicked around the idea, does it make sense long-term to have these folks be school district employees?
Right.
If we did something like that, can you use them for anything else?
Well, the whole point was they're doing the security, and then that's part of their jobs.
Right.
Like they start and end their days there pretty much.
It's the
So-
traffic
Right, but
control, it's the
like, could
morning.
you use them for, I don't know, a playground or something
Well,
like
let's say
that?
if we brought them on our own staff, they would do security, they would like.
All day.
I think that was
Yeah,
that statement,
yeah.
just completely separate from the contractors for that specific task.
All right, so we're paying, depending on the qualifications of the guard, we're paying $24 or $25 an hour.
Mhm.
So depending on, what we think an hourly wage would be for an employee, it could be, if it's 18, it's equivalent. If it's 20, we're a
Pushing
little more,
it.
with the full benefits load,
Right.
it would be a little more expensive to have them be employees.
Would that kind of position get PSERS too, I guess, yes?
I would
If
think
it's our
so.
employee, yes.
Yeah, I would think so.
That's part of the challenge and that type of thing.
Yeah.
The other piece is going out to an RFP, when we did this kind of it wasn't really pre-pandemic, was it? But anyway, it was the staffing issues across the country.
Right.
You don't know what rate you'll get if you open up an RFP and, but right now we have a rate that we're comfortable with, but there's no one there.
Right.
So it's,
Not
the
what-
rate, if it's 24, 25 that we're paying, it could all of a sudden be 35, 40.
Right.
But that may be what gets it there, and then that's really the balance, I think, from the internal piece.
Right.
Plus, we did, if you remember last June, that same meeting, we also revisited, we said we'll revisit in probably January, the conversation about anything armed. Because there's a similar district next to us, Daniel Boone, which looks very similar to us, 5 schools that went in a different direction with contracted support of 5 armed officers, 1 in each building, every day. Just a different financial commitment, but that's
Outside.
what they went with.
Yeah.
Complemented at the middle and high school with some
Yeah.
unarmed security. So different approach.
Well, even so, I mean, even if you think about it, even if you changed it to be still a contracted service, and is there a thought to upping our rate for it with
No,
them?
Say that again?
Like, is there a possibility to, even though we're contracted with them for, say, $25
Well, that's
an
not the
hour?
issue though, it's just staffing.
Well,
through
maybe it would
them
be.
Themselves.
Could be.
uh,
I know they got stuck a little bit with last year towards the end, some people, some of their staff, and Doug, correct me, now we're like, well, I can go there and work, and I think they've really shrunk their profit margin at that time to keep
Right.
things going.
They did.
No, I mean, if we offer to be
More.
more, because you think about it, it's 5 people, it's not 250 people.
Right, well, that would be
It's
a whole
5.
new RFP process, I think, that would
Yeah.
go through that to see if that's,
Okay,
Yeah.
I was just thinking,
Right.
how else could we entice them to come here?
Right.
What would qualifications be if you wanted to do it in-house?
It would be the same. There's, I think it's Act 67.
Okay.
There's a
Okay.
NASRO, at least one 40-hour training that would be a minimum requirement, plus, all of our standard, school district
Right.
trainings. And to Dr. Roach's point, there's, the continuum of what school districts are doing out there. Some of them, up at this end is, the spring forwards that have their own police force.
Yeah.
And then sort of in the middle are some that have armed guards, but they're contracted, they're not
Right.
employees.
So those companies handle all of those certifications, the
Right.
sport marksmanship, all those types of.
Yeah.
Right, that's what you're paying for.
Uniforms,
that's
weapons,
for. Yeah.
ammunition, storage of all that, that's, there's a couple different companies that offer that, and then, there's employee unarmed guards and then contracted unarmed guards.
And then nothing.
And
And
then,
then- right,
and then we're all
nothing.
in for a lot.
And when would it be better than nothing?
Right.
Yeah,
We already are.
definitely.
We already are.
Definitely.
Um,
All right,
All right,
well, just keep us
Yeah,
posted
so
on
we're just
what
gonna
you need to
continue
do.
to work to try
and-
to, get the numbers up to where they need to be.
Yes,
We'll keep you updated.
okay.
While we're talking RFP, Dan, I missed you this morning in the meeting. We did get a question about an RFP for before and after school care. There's another organization similar to the Y that's interested. Well, I'd spoken with them last year. I told them we were working with the Y this year. But there seems to be some interest in outside organizations want to have access to that bid process, which only benefits us because
Yeah.
they're paying for access to our building. We're not necessarily paying them.
Somebody's gonna pay us?
Well, well, we have somebody paying
That's
now,
a big deal.
but I think the Y had some challenges with one of our schools. Marlboro still is not having in the morning, I don't think.
Oh, well.
I think you're right.
Yeah, so anyway, that's something I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
What's that next step? Because we went for an RFP a couple of years ago. I think when I first got here, that was
Yeah.
part of the
Yeah,
discussion.
We've done it, and it's been part of the discussion as we move forward with, with the Y. But that's something we definitely look into as far as.
There's another local organization that's inquiring.
Okay.
And I had told them again, back in the spring, when we were already having conversations and how we're reading agreements with the Y, that would be the next step. And they reached back out to say they're interested, so
Okay.
Okay,
I think it's probably time.
Yeah.
And that's just my
yeah,
opinion, so.
all right. Anybody have any other new business we'd like to cover?
I just had a question.
Go.
I know it's still early in the year, but have you seen any requests for using facilities or anything like that, especially with updating our policy on that?
Mhm.
The better
Oh,
it
yeah.
works.
All the youth,
They
the
figured
youth
it
groups
out.
or youth sports organizations primarily, they're all still
They figured it
They're all
out.
still coming. We just got, about a week or so ago, we got youth basketball's requests, so we're in the process of calculating their fees. Some ballpark estimates, are it's up there.
Yeah, that's a lot of buildings and a lot of people.
But they were transparent with us, and they shared with me, the number of participants they have and how much they charged last year, so I'm trying to work with them to figure out how we can shave some of the fees. Like, for example, they wanted Saturdays in the middle school in Marlboro,
Mhm.
and I said, well, can you use the Augs gym at the middle school and not use Marlboro?
That way at least it's.
Yeah, so there would be one, like, we'd only have to open one school, that's only one custodian,
Right,
and that shaved,
quite a bit.
thousands off their initial fee estimate. So I'm working with them to try to get the numbers.
Thank you.
Most of the others have been outdoors,
Okay.
and that's just the, $400 kind of season fee, so if that's, they can absorb that. I really haven't had
Any
any,
complaints?
no.
Good.
Complaints.
That's good.
Um,
Yeah, tell us if you do.
Oh, sure.
You'll know.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, you're right, hold on, never mind.
Um,
Take that back.
Yeah, and the other, we've had, we had the Senator Mensch breakfast, that was, certainly a chargeable event.
Yes,
So there's the rental fees and the service charges, and then also all of the food service charges.
yeah. Judy and I didn't get paid for food service, just saying. We were cleaning up. Yeah,
I heard you, were you
You're allowed to eat whatever you
dishwasher,
want.
or like you
Right.
were working the dishwasher?
Yeah, yep, oh yeah, yep, had extra curl in my hair.
But the next time we have something like that going on, you might want to reach out to the Western Center and see if you can get any
Yeah.
from the Western Center that would, from the culinary arts, that would be interested in helping out.
It's a good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, give them a
I think
little
that was a
practice.
perfect storm of employee challenges,
Yep, Paula had,
Keith-
Paula was sick. yeah.
Key staff member was
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
It's hard. I
Yeah,
couldn't
it's
give her a
tough, it's
little
tough in
time.
September, because everything's just sort of getting back in the swing, and
Well, I'll be interested to see if that event comes back to the high school based upon the election outcome, if Senator Mensch is retiring, I believe, right?
Yes, and usually he does that in November.
How is it?
Yeah, he held it early because he is retiring,
Okay.
and by the time of the election, Veterans Day will be passed.
Right.
gotcha.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
I'm trying to think if we really had any, we've had, plenty of school-related functions, but those are no charge, obviously. Yeah, that's,
Okay, that was
yeah, I really
just
haven't
a
seen
drop-off
a drop-off
Yeah.
per se.
Okay.
Now granted, we've sent out a lot of invoices that haven't been paid yet, but,
Okay.
Speaking of the Veterans
That's a
Day,
different issue.
is that a charitable event?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We did-
Yeah, we just sent, well, at least we just sent an invoice today
Hmm?
for
We went last year.
the rental and custodial and security guard
Hmm.
charges.
Okay.
So
Oh,
it's
yeah, I was
just
just,
shy of $1,000 on that side. And then the food service would be layered on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they worked really hard, I saw. I mean, I saw the end part, and they worked really hard, so, and they're nice ladies. Nice ladies. We enjoyed it.
Yeah.
All right, anything else?
Dana and I had the early shift.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to work, so I couldn't come till later. I left work a little.
It was a great
early.
event. It was great to see everyone. Everyone appreciated it. And it was nice.
Yep, good stuff.
I was in charge of dismissing tables.
Oh, sure.
Sit down.
Split your lip. Yeah. I love that movie.
people at the table, please,
All right, well, if we don't have anything else, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Now, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, thanks, everybody. It was good stuff. All right, so October 13th. That'll be great. Yeah, me too.
3.
I had a picnic shake today. Yeah. Maybe I should get hangry before I go to that breakfast.
Oh,